Language was just different, 1,000 different ways of seeing, of moving through the world. And translation, unnecessary and trivial, however futile, to move between them. Hello everyone, my name is Fitri Adella. I'm a nursing student from Sikas Rumah Sakit Husada. In this lovely day, I would like to share with you a wonderful dark academia book that won Blackwell's Books of the Year for Fiction in 2022 and Nebula Award for the Best Novel in the same year. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Babel by R.F Kuang. This book began with a terrible condition of Canton because of the epidemic cholera in 1828. A mysterious Professor Lovell saved Robin Swift and brought him to London. There, he trains for a year in Latin, Ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in preparation for the day he will enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, which is also known as Babel. It's not just about a translation department, but most importantly, magic. There they make and experimented in silver bar, but it's not just an ordinary silver bar. It's a magical silver bar that can only be used with certain words and certain people. For Robin, Oxford is like a utopia dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge. But knowledge obeys power, and as a Chinese boy raised in Britain, Robin realized serving Babel means betraying his motherland. He also finds himself in a confusion between Babel and shadowy Hermes society. When Britain pursues an unjust war with China over silver and opium, Robin must decide. Can powerful institutions change from within, or does revolution always require violence? Oxford has always been magical in my mind, and Babel fed my fantasies. It's not just with how the silver bar works, but also with the idea of the power that those scholars held. Educated people are scary. They can make you beg on their knees. We don't even need to pull out their sword. And Babel also makes me realize that language is something that's very important in our life. It can unite or even separate us. Depends on how you use or spoke it, because it holds a powerful, invisible magic. The plot is very well developed. It's progress slowly, but makes it hard for you not to empathize and relate with the character struggles and their sense of liberation. From their first to third year, with all of the lectures that were given by the professor, it makes me feel as if I were one of the students. The lectures about etymology are vibrantly and gently delivered as if by one of the youngest, brightest professor in your school, with a short and simple explanation and also a footnote that helped to explain about it further. Babel itself is a combination of history, fiction, and magical realism. But the author claimed that the historical record of Victorian era in this book is remain faithful because it was expertly done with research. In my opinion, she maintains Victorian style voice favored with contemporary dialect and colonial analysis, which is somehow feel old and new. This book brought up so many crucial topics such as racial discrimination, colonialism, and even patriarchy, but it mainly focused on how important the language is. It emphasizes on how your mother language is something that's very powerful and also a valuable treasure. If it's gold stolen from your country, you can take it back. You have the law to accuse them for stealing. But if a language stolen from your country and they use for their own benefit or even harm you, do we have the right to take it back and accuse them of stealing? Because language is something that can be learned by everyone. It also helps us to connect with each other. For example, a translation, it helps us to understand other language. I have read so many translated books before, but never once I think about a complicated and amazing process behind it. Babel taught me that translating isn't just about translate each word on its own, but must rather evoke a sense of how it fits the whole passage. Every word has its own roots and skeleton, and you need to learn its history and shape to really understand the meaning. The things that I love the most from Robin's character is his eagerness. He isn't the type of a genius boy, but he's so persistent to achieve what he wants. And every character in Babel has their own characteristic, as if R.F Kuang makes them wear a very different clothes. You can describe their respective character and only find a few similarities. But I think their differences precisely is what makes their relationship unique, because they always try to complement each other. But no books are perfect. Every book has its own flaws, and in my opinion about Babel, towards the end of the book, some footnotes are over-explaining the plot or adding a new plot point rather than being merely added context. It's actually better for her to only use the footnote to explain the words or added a reference for the actual history. I also take issue with the silver working and its effect on the entire of British Empire. It has a big impact on society and very essential, but the resolution of the end of the book of this book, it's quite disappointing. If language can make people explode, there has to be something about it that can defeat the empire. Overall, it's a very entertaining and insightful read. Wrapped in dark academia and magic, Babel showed us a brutal fact about colonialism. I hope my review will be useful for you. So, thank you and happy reading!